Have the Carolina Hurricanes figured out the Vegas Golden Knights? One of many topics Greg and I will be talking about. Well, if you watch the game in the offensive zone yesterday with the Carolina Hurricanes zipping it around, Greg Wyshynski, don't give me that look. You'll say, yeah, they're figuring this thing out, heading back to Raleigh, which is where you are heading momentarily, Greg Wyshynski. This is the sheet for Wednesday, June the 10th. Glad to have you aboard today. We have a very special guest coming up at the bottom of the hour. Why did you give me weirdo guy face when I said have the Carolina Hurricanes figured out the Vegas Golden Knights?
It's still essentially a one-goal game. I mean, I know Rod Brindamore said the other day, like, we could be up 3-0 in the series because the games have been that tight. But I don't know. I clearly Vegas didn't play well last night. And clearly Carolina was playing like a team that, A, felt the wall against their backs. Maybe it wasn't quite there yet, but it was close. And then, B, probably just needed a couple days to get their equilibrium. I am of the belief that the travel really impacted them in Game 3. They looked like Montreal Game 1 in Game 3, blowing assignments, and all it takes is one guy to screw up for the entire house of cards that the Hurricanes build to fall down. I thought everyone was kind of on their game last night for them. They played well. Vegas didn't play all that great, but I mean, Vegas is still a formidable opponent. And still did some things that were quite good last night. One might say that the Carolina Hurricanes were 0.2 seconds away from it being a very different hockey game last night, Jeff Marek.
We're allowing goals after the buzzer now? Okay, all right, very good. Well, goal posts are going to count as shots on net now too? Okay, sure, I'll bite on that one too.
You and I have talked about the video review thing so many times on the show. Yeah. Like, how refreshing is it that the last two games, every consequential review was like stark. It was obvious. This guy was obviously in the zone before the puck got there.
Yes.
Barbashev obviously rocked Frederik Andersen in the head. Last night, obviously the puck goes in after the buzzer. But last night was the real funny one because, like, I get the idea that you're booing a goalie interference call. I get the idea that maybe you can boo an offside call. Last night, the Vegas fans were literally booing the rotation of the earth. They were booing time proceeding in a logical way. Like, what are you doing?
F you, time. We've had enough of your chicanery. That goal's got to stand. McNabb, you got ripped off as we just watched this one here in the dying seconds of the first period. Brady McNabb.
I was watching the end sequence of that period, and I'm like, if they get one here,
if they get a clean one,
turn it.
Well,
and they almost did.
And it's a slot line pass, and Bussi's moving, and so like there's a more than good chance here that this thing is going to find the back of the net. It's uncontested. He's got a wide open shot, but cheering. Well, cheering or booing against time. Yes, that was a new one on me.
I know. Let's get the what's on the sheet nonsense out of the way first, because I do want to talk about Bussi.
Ooh.
So do your business first.
Okay, here we go. The janitorial work of the program. The Blueprint is powered by FanDuel. Download the app today and play your game on FanDuel. Plenty of discussion about Game 4 coming up here in a couple of moments. More with Greg Wyshynski from ESPN and ESPN.com. Special advisor to the general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes is three-time Stanley Cup winner and a Conn Smythe Trophy winner as well. Mr. Game 7, Justin Williams, stops by the program. We'll talk more about Game 4. We'll talk about Jordan Staal. We'll talk about a Mike Babcock investigation, which is underway from the NHL. And if we get around to it, and fingers crossed that we do, trade requests around the National Hockey League, with Dylan Larkin being the kickoff point there for that conversation with our boy Wish. And you wanted to make a point about Bussi. Floor is yours.
He wasn't great. Like, he battled.
No, he's okay.
He was good in the third period. He was 9 for 9 on saves in the third period, and that's when you need him to be good. Yeah. But like he was I was going to say the F word. He was an adventure on that William Karlsson goal, and in a way that made me a little bit worried about him actually being able to win this game last night. But the good news is that he was good enough where you could start him in Game 5 and feel okay about it if the team in front of him plays well enough, and then you get the perfect scenario. The reason I wanted him to start Game 4 is for this very scenario, which is you may have captured a little lightning in the bottle with the way that he played. Maybe he gets even better in Game 5 for you back home. And then if you need him to come out of the bullpen, you have a very rested Frederik Andersen getting a chance to save the series if you need him.
Here's the thing about both goaltenders. Every time the puck is in the offensive zone, I'm just assuming we're going to see a goal. Because this has not been the best of all possible series here for Carter Hart, who now has surrendered 4+ goals in all 4 games. Like if Vegas wins Conn Smythe, the Carter Hart conversation, which was out there but muted for the obvious reasons, I mean, that's all gone. It's not like he's leading the Vegas Golden Knights to victory. And I'll tell you, and the reason why I said figured out the Vegas Golden Knights Carolina has at the top of the show, in the offensive zone yesterday, Carolina was zipping that thing around at will. Like whatever they wanted to do, they did. And the retrievals were outstanding. And the line that we've been talking about, Logan Stankoven and Jackson Blake and Taylor Hall, all of a sudden that line is starting to connect and find a lot of open ice and find a lot of clean shots. And I share the same feeling that you do about Bussi. Not his best performance, but I say the same thing about Carter Hart. And that adds a whole other layer of intrigue to all of this. I just assume that most shots are going in now. And I did yesterday. Yeah, I'm not having faith in either.
It's a relief to the Conn Smythe voters to not have to worry about the underlying narratives of Carter Hart's Conn Smythe candidacy. Now we only have to worry about Brett Howden, who obviously has some ties to the hockey.
14 goals.
I mean, I think Marner wins the Conn Smythe in a walk if they end up winning the cup, obviously. But to your point, yeah. I mean, it's been an unbelievably offensive series. I think I saw the stat last night: 4th most goals scored in the first 4 games of a Stanley Cup Final ever. The Carter Hart thing's really intriguing though, because Rod Brind'Amour is having to answer questions about his goaltending every other question for the last 4 days.
Yeah.
I don't think John Tortorella's gotten asked about Carter Hart. And maybe that's just the assumption that he's never going to replace him because he's Carter Hart's guy going back to their days in Philly or because what is Aiden Hill really going to give them when Carter Hart has been their guy for the last 3 months? I don't know why those questions aren't being asked of the Golden Knights, because Carter Hart's been dog shit this series. Let's be honest. For all of the times in which Freddie Andersen has been shaky and you're his numbers the last 2 rounds haven't been very good. Some of the chances he's given up goals on are grade A high danger, and you couldn't really fault him for that. I think Hart obviously had some struggles last night, but Staal scores on a rebound. The Stankoven shot's probably one that's high danger, but that Carter Hart should probably have. The Staal goal, the game winner, obviously it's completely funky in several different ways that we can talk about, but it's still one that he maybe should get a glove on. I don't know. I think he's been as much a reason why the Vegas Golden Knights aren't up 3-1 in this series right now, and I'm really surprised there isn't more scrutiny about their goaltending, and maybe it's just the idea that it doesn't matter, he's not getting replaced.
There's a lot on that Staal goal. First of all, great effort by Jordan Staal, and 2 goals in the game, and he scored in every single game so far in the Stanley Cup Final, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. 17 years in between cups and all of that stuff. So the one area where Vegas early in this series destroyed the Carolina Hurricanes, specifically in Game 1, was pucks along the boards. And that is where it all broke down for Vegas around Carter Hart on that Jordan Staal goal, right? In Game 1, Vegas comes out with that puck around the boards. You go back to Game 1, every single play along the wall, Vegas gets it. Vegas gets it. They win the battle. It's their puck. They're fishing it out. They're bullying through, all of it. They win everything on the boards. Not that one. It gets to Jordan Staal. It's a remarkable play by him. It's one of those goals we're gonna watch for years. And I love celebrations. I love celebrations when you're lying on your stomach. And if you're watching us on YouTube here, actually, we're gonna get to this in a second. So the puck is going to the boards. There's 4 guys on Seth Jarvis. 4 guys. And they don't come up with the puck along the boards. I love celebrations on the belly. I'm sorry. I love belly always have. We don't see it very often. Good on Jordan Staal, not for getting up and selling, but for staying down to do the celebration. It's a tiny thing, but I'm a very trivial person.
The thing I love about this goal, it's such a perfect microcosm of the Stanley Cup Final. So many things broke down, but so many things broke right for Carolina. Seth Jarvis has a chance in front on Carter Hart that Brind'Amour last night is he blew it. He can't believe he didn't score on that chance in front of Carter Hart. But what does he do? Doesn't quit on the play, outworks 4 Golden Knights in the corner to somehow get the puck to Ehlers. By the way, didn't get an assist on that goal, which is kind of nuts. Ehlers has a rolling puck, and he said to us last night in the locker room, he wasn't even sure he was going to be able to get the pass off because the puck was rolling at that point. So he gets some wood on it. It goes to Staal. Staal's now handcuffed because the pass is terrible, and so he then dives to his right, knocks the puck in with a stick. Carter Hart doesn't get a glove on it. It is the perfect example of the just razor thin margins between success and failure in this series, that everything looked terrible but broke right for Carolina on the game-winning goal. And like Ehlers said last night, he just laughed. Like, his reaction to that goal was he was laughing. Because, like, what do you do in that situation but laugh when everything kind of goes the right way on a play that's completely broken?
So this one's going to minimum 6 on Sunday, perhaps 7. We cross our fingers because who doesn't love a game 7? So I look at, again, because we're part of the conversation getting here is this Stanley Cup Final has been fantastic. Where do we place it amongst, great Stanley Cup Finals that we've seen before? Again, we can't ultimately judge because the series isn't done. 94 was incredible. That was, I know as a Devils fan.
My therapist told me that 94 never happened.
95? Was 95 better?
No, 95. 95 may have been the greatest Stanley Cup final of all time. Brief, but memorable.
Half a cup. So 94 was a great Stanley Cup final. 2011, even though the last game wasn't exactly great, getting there was drama-filled, obviously, and really gripping intrigue between the Boston Bruins and the Vancouver Canucks. That was a great one. I'll always go back to Philly and Edmonton in 1987, which just had so much, including a J.J. Daigneault goal in Game 6 that sent it to Game 7, where the Spectrum had never... I don't know that we've heard an NHL arena that loud as we did in Philadelphia in Game 6 for Daigneault's goal, but... Here we are 4 games in, and I'm saying to myself, already this is a contender to be in the conversation with all of those great Stanley Cup finals, again, just that I've seen in my lifetime. I'm ready to start putting this Vegas-Carolina series in there. What say you?
I mean, we haven't talked this week about any of this. Game 3 was easily the best Stanley Cup final game I've ever covered. Like, it was... a heavyweight fight.
Yep.
It had all the drama that you'd want with McNabb coming back and Freddie getting pulled, and like it had all the boxes were checked as far as what makes for a classic playoff game.
Controversy.
Yeah, and
where the concussion
goals,
spotters.
Controversy. Yeah, the 4 goals scored, the 4 goal rally, this place, the Fortress being out of its mind all night. I mean, it was easily the best Stanley Cup final game I ever covered. Nothing will touch 2011 as far as drama. That was a soap opera.
Dude,
that was an entire season of a Bravo series. Like that was
a city
beyond
burned.
Comprehension. A city burned. Luongo with the I'm not going to pump his tires. Sedin getting punched in the face by Marchand. Like there is nothing in my life that will ever come close to the drama and the nastiness and the contention of Vancouver and Boston. But as far as like gameplay, this is the best.
Awesome.
As far as there being enough meat on the bone storyline wise, this is great. I mean, whether it's the terribleness of the Carter Hart story or the Tortorella taking over 8 games left in the regular season, Brind'Amour and the team finally breaking through, like there's so many different storylines here that I think are really interesting. But from a gameplay perspective, like. I mean, Jacob Slavin said this morning at his press conference, like, he's getting texts from people being like, this is the greatest hockey I've ever seen. And this guy played in the Olympics. This guy played in the 4 Nations. Yeah. It's been fantastic. It's been beyond my comprehension how good this series could have been. And I already thought it was going to be a pretty good series.
3 more games. Let's get 3 more games in here. Not 2. Let's get 3 more games in this.
I don't know, man. I'd like to see my dog at some point.
I understand that, Greg. So Greg at this point is cheering for seeing his dog, and as a dog guy myself, I can respect that.
Like, the cheering in the press box thing is always a very interesting conversation to have because I think people have misconceptions about what
people
we cheer
for. You cheer for sweeps so you can get home early. I know whoever wins the first game. Let's go.
The first thing we cheer for is the story, like what is going to be the most interesting thing to chew on and dig our teeth into and write about. And then the second thing is brevity. Like, just give us the shortest series possible with the most drama. I mean, listen, I will be quite honest with you. I missed Laundry Day. ESPN does a Laundry Day for all the people that are on the road for the series.
Yeah.
I am in the midst of sniff testing right now. I am in the sniff test zone. I think I have enough to get me through at least Game 5.
Okay.
Game 6 might have to be a little different story.
Are you going college style and flipping everything inside out, get another day out of it? Are you doing that bit yet?
I definitely did that once. But I'm a carry-on guy. Like, I was talking to our friend Michael Russo, a mutual friend that's been on the show many times.
Yeah, a great guy.
Russo's luggage got lost because he carries, like a
cigars. He carries a humidor. That's what Mike Russo
he carries a humidor. But he also carries like a steamer trunk that you'd see on the Titanic. And me, I'm like shoving my entire life in a carry-on bag because I don't want to have that happen and have my luggage get lost somewhere. So sniff tests and prayers right now for your boy.
Cheer for your boy. Okay, we're going to change pace here. But before we get there, this segment is a presentation of Canadian Blood Services, who invite you to experience what giving feels like. In a world that can feel isolating and divided, blood and plasma donation offers something rare and fulfilling. Real connection, real purpose, real impact. I do this consistently, as I've mentioned to you on this program, every 3 months. Every summer, people across Canada get swept up in the excitement of the season, and donation routines can slip, but the need doesn't. This is a moment to rally together as a nation and for new donors to experience firsthand what you get when you give. At a moment when many Canadians are looking for positive ways to show up for one another, Canadian Blood Services is issuing an invitation for new donors. Fill every donation share in the country this summer. Book at blood.ca through the Give Blood app or call 1-888 to donate. Okay, Greg Wyshynski. A couple of other big stories here, and I want to park time to get to Dylan Larkin, but quickly, the NHL will proceed with an investigation into Mike Babcock as a prelude, if he gets cleared, to the Edmonton Oilers hiring him as a head coach. And yes, if they're doing an investigation and talking to players, a Vegas Golden Knight player could block the Oilers from hiring another coach.
So I read about this last night. The NHLPA is obviously compelling the NHL to do this investigation because the NHL didn't do an investigation back in 2023. I saw some reporting back a few years ago saying that they investigated him. They didn't. All they did was take the NHLPA's findings when Marty Walsh and Ron Hainsey met with the Blue Jackets players and then delivered them to the Blue Jackets, which then led to Babcock's resignation. And what we've come to find out about that resignation, Marek, is that it happens with the knowledge that an NHL investigation would be coming. There wasn't one because he resigned, and now we're back in the same spot. If the Oilers want to press ahead and hire Mike Babcock as their head coach, there will have to be an investigation. So you start to wonder, will they go through with it? Is it worth it? How long is the investigation? Who will they have to talk to? These things aren't necessarily done on a team's timeline. And is it worth it? The fact that this is a Daryl Cates initiative to hire Babcock would probably tell you that the investigation will go forward and they're going to see this thing through. Side note, I do wonder what sort of influence our friend Bob Stauffer had on this one, considering how tight he is with Babcock. Just a side note there.
In any particular sense?
In the sense that I think he probably has the ear of some very important people in the Oilers organization.
You see, I would wonder about, because listen, everything else aside, Mike Babcock turned Zach Hyman into a bona fide top-end NHL player. That's where I wonder about a lot of this. Either Zach Hyman agreeing to or helping to initiate.
I don't know.
You don't buy it?
I assume that you have some intrinsic knowledge.
No, I don't. This is all speculation, knowing that all these players will have to sign off on it. But I have a hard time believing that if you pan the room and go, "Hey, who do you think we should bring in here?" Who's the opposite of what we just had? If you're Zach Hyman, you're probably saying Mike Babcock.
I think someone put a bug in Cates' ear and they're looking for a coach who's a hard ass with a Stanley Cup ring. The one that they wanted, they can't hire because Vegas won't let him. The other one, I guess they didn't want, and he ends up signing in L.A. in Laviolette. Mm-hmm. The list is very short as far as who those guys are. And then you go down the Babcock road. Now, the really interesting thing here, Marek, is who does the NHLPA work for?
The players.
It works for the players. I don't think the NHLPA is being we've got to make sure that Mike Babcock doesn't coach again in this league. I don't think that's really top of the mind for Marty Walsh in 2026. So you start to wonder why they were activated in this situation. And I've reported, and we know for a fact, that Oilers players have reached out to the NHLPA about Babcock. Now, my reporting was that they wanted to make sure that there were no open investigations into the guy. They wanted to kind of see what the PA felt about him. Mm-hmm. But you do wonder if there's been communication between the entirety of the Oilers room and the NHLPA. All it takes is one guy to be like, we would be more comfortable if the NHL looked into this. Something had to happen. This is my speculation. Something had to happen to get the NHLPA involved in this way, in this matter. And I don't think it's simply because there was unfinished business from the Blue Jackets situation. I think it's probably somebody on the Oilers being like, we got to get a clean bill here from the NHL that we didn't get last time. That's speculation.
Okay. Part of what I wondered about too is this is, the most, with all due respect to Sidney Crosby, the most powerful player in the league's team. This is Connor McDavid's team, Leon Draisaitl's team. I wonder how much of a mitigating factor that is through all of this, from the Players Association point of view.
I've heard, from people that know Connor that he signed off on this. I
agree. I've heard same. I
assume that if he did, then Leon did. But I think, I don't know if you got a chance to hear Mike Commodore's interview with Jason Greger yesterday on his radio show. Yeah. I thought Commodore made a really good point, which is that
about mental
health.
Truly
doesn't matter. Well, no. It truly doesn't matter if McDavid signs off on it or if Leon signs off on it, because those guys aren't going to be victimized by Mike Babcock.
It's going to be down the lineup, yeah.
The 5th to 7th defenseman, the equipment staff, people around the arena. Commodore's point was that those are the people that Mike Babcock bullies. And those are the people that are going to have to deal with this asshole being back in the league. It's not Connor and Leon. It's probably not Zach Hyman. And I thought that was a really important point. And by the way, to what I just said, why is this asshole going to be back in the league? He had to resign before coaching a game for the Columbus Blue Jackets because of the tactics he used to invade the privacy of players. And that might be the tip of the iceberg as far as what he was doing. He bullied Johan Franzen. He did that bullshit with Marner in Toronto where he shares the list of who hustles the most in the team with veteran players. I understand the craven desire for success in Edmonton because they are looking at a potential 2-year window before Connor McDavid is buying a house in the United States. But to bring Mike Babcock back into the league is insane. It's stupid. This guy should never be a head coach in the NHL again. And by the way, wouldn't be anyway if people could wake up and understand that he's only a head coach for 3 reasons. J.S. Jaguar in 2003, Nick Lidstrom for several years in Detroit, and having the best team that Canada's ever put together in the Olympics twice. This guy's a fraud. He's won 1 playoff series since Nick Lidstrom retired. And we're going out of our way to have the NHL vet this guy before signing him in Edmonton to go out in the first round? What are we doing?
None of this is wrong. None of this is wrong. My point through all of this over the last 24 hours has been when the idea of an investigation came up, if it has to be like this, why are you making this choice? If there has to be something like this, that's a pretty good clue that this is that this is the wrong choice to begin with.
But dude, that's where you're.
And the other thing, the other thing, to further to your point, we could do the audit on the bio, and that's fine. We're all doing it. I think the point that you just made is an even bigger one. We don't know if he can still do this.
He hasn't coached since what, 2019, 2020? 2019, I think?
When Keith took over, yeah.
So But to your point, though, you know why they're doing this. Who's their GM?
Stan.
It's a guy who we all thought was going to be persona non grata in this league. Who's coaching the Ducks? Same deal. Who's the goalie for Vegas? Same deal. Anytime these teams get a chance to have what they perceive to be a competitive advantage, they don't give a damn about morality. They don't give a damn about reputation. They're going to go down those roads. And in Edmonton's case, it's desperation because, again, the guy they wanted is being held hostage by a division rival. And they've got to do something because they completely screwed up the timeline and turfed the guy that got them to the Stanley Cup Final twice, and now are flailing around doing all this stuff. By the way, there's also a 10% chance that the NHLPA is investigating this because Jay Woodcroft called them with a voice changer and pretended to be one of the Edmonton players. I've thought about that. It's possible.
Okay, let's quickly here before Justin Williams calls in here. Thoughts on Dylan Larkin and the three teams: the Florida Panthers, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Minnesota Wild. Where's the entry point on the conversation for you on this one? Because there are many here. To me, the overarching question for all of it is how, and this points right to Steve Yzerman. How did you let this relationship get this bad that it is now at this point? We saw a couple of times publicly these two, go back and forth with each other. How was it allowed to get to this point where one is demanding a trade? But where's the entry point on the conversation for you?
All right, so I'll try to get as much as in before Justin comes on, and then we can maybe pick it up after we talk to him. But first of all, I'm not shading Helene St. James's reporting because she's clearly knows more about the Red Wings and has more sources within the organization than I do. I had heard some other teams than those three. I had heard
one different one, but I had heard one different one, and that was Utah. But again,
Utah.
I'm not as close to it. So,
and
but I did hear that there were three teams. I did hear there were three teams.
And I heard I heard the other Florida team. I heard Tampa. Now, that's not to say that either of us are right. It could also mean that those teams are maybe in pursuit of Dylan Larkin versus being on his list. But the five teams that we're dealing with, both Florida teams, Utah, Minnesota obviously being the one we assume he wants to go to the most. Yeah. We'll see how it shakes out. But Vegas obviously too is, with the Eichel connection. In calling around a little bit on this, I wonder ultimately how heartbroken Steve Yzerman is to be in this situation. Because their relationship is extremely fractured from what I gather.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's a lot of mutual respect there. And I don't think that listen, how many general managers do you know? Hold on. How many general managers do you know will take it and not hold a grievance against a player who calls them out in a postseason press conference for not having done enough at the trade deadline? Do you think Steve Yzerman is like, oh, that's fine. That's a valid criticism. I think he thinks his captain is stupid for doing it, and I'm not sure if there's a lot of respect coming from management down to Larkin because, quite frankly, he's the captain of a team that has missed the playoffs year after year, and maybe there needs to be a little bit of ownership of that on Larkin's part.
That, to me, says failure as a general manager. Because when you rise to that position in an organization, you have to understand you don't have to like someone to do business with them. And if you let your personal feelings come into it, if what you're saying is true, and I have no reason to think otherwise, then you're not doing your job as a general manager. You do not have to like the players you do business with, but you have to be able to do business with people you don't like. That is just the reality of the business. That's just the reality of the NHL. Justin Williams is standing by. Mr. Game 7. 3-time Stanley Cup champion. Conn Smythe Trophy winner as well. Stanley Cup champion with the Hurricanes and twice with the Los Angeles Kings. Justin Williams, who's now the special advisor to the general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes, joins us now. First of all, Justin, we've been trying to contextualize, and you were part of some great Stanley Cup finals as well. I know we're only 4 games in, and welcome to the program here. Where do you put this one amongst, this Stanley Cup final, amongst the sort of collage of great Stanley Cup finals that you've either A, been part of, or B, seen? Because this has been a banger for 4 games.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's certainly the most interesting one that I've ever watched, and it's really doing its toll on my mental stability. To be quite honest, I mean, it's stressful. I got a lot more ups and downs than being a fan than I ever did playing. So it's been amazing. Listen, it's been absolutely amazing. It's been two teams that obviously are have a lot of similarities. Teams that are giving everything they got. You know, they see the light at the end of the tunnel. There's a maximum of 3 games left, so everyone knows they can just pour everything they can into it. But it's been a banger so far. I agree.
So anytime I talk to anybody from any team that's involved in the Stanley Cup Final, they always say the same thing. Everybody is telling me to enjoy it, but all I want to do is throw up nonstop as I'm watching this. Does that resonate with you, Justin Williams, as you watch?
No, I mean, listen, I'm watching, and I'm you know, as an ex-player, you want to be out on the ice, right? And
Yeah.
You kind of live it, and you feel it through the athletes, right, that are actually on the ice. So, you know, I don't really want to throw up, but I am really enjoying it, and I'm you know, enjoying watching the guys go through this ride together. And that's that's one of the most fun things about doing this, about going long in playoffs, is the bonds that you create with these guys going through battle, day in and day out, showing up and relying on each other is one of the best things about hockey and about sports. And these two teams are doing it unbelievably.
Yeah, Justin, I tried to get Marek not to do the Mr. Game 7 thing. I remember talking to you at the end of your playing career, and you're just
Come on.
enough with it.
No.
I've had bad Game 7s too.
If that were me, I would put that on business cards. I might get a tattoo on my forehead. I'm not sure. Like, I'm walking around. I'm Mr. Game 7. Anyway, go ahead, Greg.
Justin, tell us about Jordan Staal. I mean, I was so happy to see this guy get the spotlight for all of the things he does last night. I mean, I think we've all come to understand him as being one of the best defensive centers we've had in the league in like the last 20 years. But it just seems like now we're getting to see what the boys in the locker room see, which is him doing all the things that you need to do as a captain to win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna. I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna toot his horn pretty good right now. I mean, he's been here in Carolina through some down times, and he has always just, you know, resonated and you know, respected the Carolina Hurricanes organization, you know, from top to bottom. And right now what he's doing is he's willing people into the fight with him. And obviously guys on our team don't need any help, but you need a leader who's going to lead the way, and he's going to go, boys, let's go. You know, we're doing everything we can. We're not taking one shift off. And, you know, he's scoring goals right now, which is great. Obviously great for our team, but the things that he does away from the puck, he's playing over 18 minutes a night. He's playing against the top players on the other team every single time he gets out there. You think he's going out there every time when there's an offensive zone faceoff? No. There's a defensive zone faceoff. He says, all right, I got this. And that's really hard to do sometimes, but he's probably our most valuable player, and he's showing why. And he's a guy, when Rod Brindamore puts him out on the ice, he's at ease, and the boys are following along right now because he's leading the way.
Sticking with Jordan Staal, do you remember what feels like a million years ago in Game 1 against Ottawa when he fought Brady Tkachuk? Did that surprise you at all?
Yes, because he doesn't have many fights. But did he surprise me that you know, when someone calls him out, he doesn't answer the bell? No. You know, Brady said, hey, let's do this. You could see him in the opening face-off there, and Jordan said, all right, let's do this. You know, he's not going to back down. This is Game 1 of the playoffs, and, you know, someone's coming into your arena saying, I want a piece of you right now. And he said, all right, let's go. And I really think that was a super springboard to the way that we're playing right now as a team. Everyone has each other's back. You know, the good thing about this playoffs or this finals too, you don't see a lot of the crap after whistles, right? You see a lot of whistle to whistle playing, a lot of hard nose playing, a lot of good hits, a lot of physicality, but you don't see the extra cheap shot stuff that you know, you might come to see in some other series that I've watched here. So I think that really tells the players that they don't want to put their teams in a bad situation, and teams are playing whistle to whistle. and teams respect each other.
Justin, I've been fascinated by the dynamic behind the scenes with the Hurricanes, where you have Eric Tulsky, a guy who came to that job in a very sort of non-traditional way as GM, and then you have Rod Brindamore, who, if challenged, could probably bench press a Zamboni, I think. And you have two guys that couldn't be more different, and yet the relationship seems to have really worked behind the scenes. What's been your observation of Tulsky and Brindamore?
Well, I think one of the best things about our organization is nobody takes themselves too seriously. And what I mean by that is there's not one person that says, you're absolutely wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, even though it might be a different idea. And everyone's confident in the way we feel a team should be built, confident in what we need as a team on the ice. But at the same time, you're able to, you're not too proud to listen to what other people's opinions are. And that's really what our organization is about. And obviously, Tulsky and Tom Dundon and Rod, those are the top three head honchos boys that, make really the end decisions. But, together, they're able to work together and figure out what the best team going on the ice forward, and they're not too proud to say you're wrong, and the other people aren't too proud to say, okay, tell me why. And I think that's a really good part of how our dynamic is. And Tulsky's done an unbelievable job of fitting into the hockey dynamic from what his background is. He's done an unbelievable job.
When you look at this team, and I don't know whether this is a matter of like recruiting players that fit the way that Rod Brindamore wants to coach, it is probably part of it. But what is it that allows, Logan Stankoven to come from Dallas and improve in Carolina? What allows Taylor Hall to come from Chicago and improve? We haven't seen Taylor Hall play like this since New Jersey and when he won the Hart Trophy. To come to Carolina and improve. Keandre Miller to come from the New York Rangers and improve. Walker comes in, he improves. What's the secret sauce? Like, players that go to the Carolina Hurricanes get better. That is a fact. Is it that they recruit a very specific type of player, or is there something else?
Well, I think a lot of the stuff you're probably talking about is culture related and leadership related. Players that come to our dressing room, our leadership makes them fall in line. And what all players want to do is they want to carve out a role. They want to feel like this is their responsibility. They want to feel like part of something, and that's what a team is all about. You don't want to feel like another recycled part that you're going to be in and out, right? Mm-hmm. You want to come here and feel like you're part of something. So guys like, Logan Stankoven, right? He comes here in a trade, and we obviously thought the world of him before he came here, and we gave him an opportunity to have a big role, and he seized it. And, Taylor Hall comes in, and did we think this line would be what it is right now? No, we never knew that, but we knew Taylor Hall is a great hockey player, and right now he's doing things that Taylor Hall I didn't really see before. He is mean out there. He's finishing checks. He's
yeah.
He is in your face, and he's playing hard. And another guy who has just found a role here and wants to keep it, and we all just want to be part of something. And I can go on and on down the list, as you said, Keandre Miller, the guys that come in, but it really stems from the leadership at the top. Brindamore throwing the message down, and then the leaders, Slavin, Aho, Staal, Martinook, the guys with the letters, and then the guys even without the letters. It's the trickle down effect that we've developed here, and we want to have it continue to develop over the years, because we think we're set up for not only success this year, but many, many years to come.
You won the Conn Smythe in 2014. What do they give you when you win the Conn Smythe?
They give you a little replica Conn Smythe trophy, and I'll actually tell you a funny story. Is I actually thought I got like a sizable bonus for it, and I don't know what it was, but I was like, oh wow, I get that money, that's unbelievable. So I bought like all the guys like a nice gift. And then whatever, 3 months later, I was like, man, I haven't gotten that check yet. And it turns out you don't get anything. There's no money. But I did get the guys a nice little gift.
They
That's
used
really
to.
funny.
There's a great story. 1971 Chicago Montreal. If last game, if Chicago won, Dennis Hull was going to get the Conn Smythe, and if Montreal won, it was going to be Ken Dryden, and it was a 2-goal lead for Chicago going into the third period, and Montreal has a comeback. Ken Dryden ends up winning it, and Steele. They used to give out a car. And so first game of the season, Chicago's playing Montreal the next season, and Yvon Cornway gets up to Dennis Hull and says, "Hey, Ken Dryden says your car's handling perfectly on the Montreal roads. He thanks you for he thanks you for the automobile." So like once upon a time, like you did get a car.
Yeah.
You got
Like I
something.
remember the
You got
All-Star
something.
game where they would give you a car. I don't know
Yeah.
where that stopped.
Oh, yeah.
But somewhere along the lines, the NHL stopped giving out cars.
Yeah. Well, in
they need a better
2014,
sponsorship.
you didn't get anything in 2014, but you got a trophy, and I am very, very proud of that one.
But you
That's
got
great.
something too that Rod Brindamore always talks about too, and that is stacking memories. We're stacking memories. We're stacking memories. We're stacking memories. When you look back, like we'll get off this year's Carolina Hurricanes here briefly. When you look back at your career, like you stacked a lot of memories and Stanley Cups and the Greg mentioned Conn Smythe trophies. When you look back at the career, is it those moments of ultimate success that jump out for you, or is it something else?
I think the obviously the moments of success they come back to you right away. They jog your memory. You see a picture, it just brings you back there right away, right? But when people retire, and obviously in my situation too, people celebrate the accomplishments, which is awesome. Okay, but people forget about all the days where things weren't going so well. You might have been a healthy scratch one time. You had a list of injuries that you went through. The downtimes and the failures, when you pick yourself up, dust yourself back up, and get back on it. That's the thing that I think I'm most truly proud of, is playing well almost into my almost till I was 40 years old, having the longevity and not quitting when it got tough. Those are the types of things that I think I'm really proud of. Aside from the accomplishments that I was able to create as a player and as part of a team.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and speaking of longevity, 2 of your guys from those Kings teams called the quits this year, Anze Kopitar and Jonathan Quick, and I was wondering your thoughts on both of their legacies as they leave the NHL in the same season.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough good things about that. I mean, those were I was there for 7.5 years, and we had some great teams there, and we won 2 championships, which I'm clearly proud of. I think we may have left 1 or 2 out there, more opportunities out there, but Kopi and Quickie were just gamers. They were absolute gamers, but they were great guys, and there's guys that you want on your team, and who are going to show up when the going gets tough, and you look around the dressing room, you'd be like, all right, I don't have to worry about that guy or that guy or that guy. And we had a bunch of them in the dressing room there, but those 2 especially were like, all right, they're going to bring it. They're not just going to bring average, they're going to bring great, and they're going to demand it from everybody else too. So seeing them shove off into the sunset, it'll be hard for them. I know that. You're going to miss it, but they shouldn't have any regrets with how their season went, how their career went. Because they got a lot of, as you say, good memories to look back on as well. The only guy left there, Drew Doughty. The only guy left there.
Yeah.
Drew Doughty.
Okay, so let me listen. Drew, you played with Drew. Do you think that he maybe just goes on like evergreen deals, 1, 1, 1, 1, or do you think at the end of this one, because he just seems like someone that just loves to play hockey. At the end of it, guy's a hockey player, and as long as someone's going to pay him to play hockey, he's gonna play hockey. What do you see? What do you see with Doughty in the next couple of years as the contract winds down?
Well, he's a guy that wants to win too. They haven't. I mean, everybody wants to win. That's a kind of a stupid thing to say, but everybody wants to win. But I mean, this, he's tasted his success at an early age, and then the last, 10, 12 years, hasn't won a playoff series. So I know that's weighing on him a little bit. He does seem like a guy who's going to want to play
Yeah.
Forever. He just has such a joy when he's on the ice of playing. He's got an infectious personality and a guy you just want to be around all the time. So I see him playing a lot, but I see him really wanting to get himself back into the fun time of year, which is right now. And he's played some Olympics, some World Cup, World Cup. So I mean that's fun stuff for him. But at the end of the day, we want that big silver jug.
That dude has 43 years old on the third pairing on the Florida Panthers written all over him, man. Like that is the Drew Doughty exit plan right there. That guy. They always have that guy on those cup teams in Florida. I think he could be that guy for them at some point.
No, not Florida. Florida's fine. Florida's good enough. Okay? Florida is good enough.
That's right. Sorry, that's right. We don't need him in the East. We'll keep him in the West.
Florida's good enough.
Let me the last one from me, Justin. I'm glad we sort of kind of sideways got to the Florida Panthers here. I kind of look at what happened with Carolina against the Florida Panthers to sort of be instructive, and there was like a lot of little data points in there for your Carolina Hurricanes, because like they just went in there and tried to like run you guys out of the building and like physically, and just I remember Kachuk all over Aho. It's just like, and then Carolina this year, it was like, and maybe it just started with Jordan Staal, as we mentioned off the beginning of this conversation, fighting Brady Kachuk, but it was like all of a sudden Carolina, after that Florida series last year, was like, no more. That's not going to happen to us, and we are going to be the ones initiating. And the Ottawa series, Walker, Hall, and it went all the way through the playoffs, right up now against the Vegas Golden Knights. Was that series against the Panthers as instructional as it seems to be right now? What I'm getting at is this team got tougher after the Florida series last year.
I think you certainly learn from your experiences, good or bad. You assess what went wrong, what you could have done better. And I think it's a relatively fair point to say we might have been bullied a little bit by the Florida teams. That's what they try to do. They got great players. They like to play a certain way. But I do feel this year, regardless of them being in the playoffs or not, we have a big backbone this year, and we have a bunch of guys sticking up for each other. And if stuff goes wrong and if stuff goes awry and someone needs to step up, we got plenty of guys to do that. We picked up Nick Delorier at the trade deadline. I know he hasn't played that much, but it's just super nice to have a big brother and someone behind you saying, all right, if stuff gets out of whack, I'm here for you. And we have a big team. If you look at our list, we got a big team. And we've got a lot of pushback this year, and it's been super, super fun to see.
Greg, last one to you.
Well, that's all I got, man. I was just thinking big team. I mean, covering Jordan Staal, like you watch this guy and you're like, how does anyone ever take him off the puck? Like he's just like a
he's the strongest, there, man. He's the strongest guy I've ever played with, and that's saying a lot. He is a moose. He is so strong, and if we do end up pulling this out, I think it'd be an absolute shame if he doesn't get any Conn Smythe consideration, because it usually goes to the top scorer. Yes, I get it. I understand that every year. But, I mean, this guy, he's our most valuable player, and he's scoring goals now, and he's scoring big goals when it matters most, and he is taking guys, with him along the way. And, they're flying back now. They're on a plane right now on their way back here, and you got a maximum of 3 games left, so both teams I know are going to give everything they got, but it would be an absolute shame if we win and he doesn't at least get some goals for that.
I think he threw his hat in the ring in a pretty big way in Game 4.
Huge.
But it was just funny hearing Tortorella talk about him last night, and just like, we got to do a better job getting him out from in front of the crease. I'm like, how? Well, like with a bulldozer? Like what are you going to do?
A crane?
You got in front of the crease.
You got a crane? You got to pick him up, put him back on the bench? Or what are you going to do?
Yeah. Once he establishes position, you're probably not moving him out of the.
You're not. Listen, we'll let you get on with your day. Thanks for parking some time with us today. Much appreciated, and best of luck to your Hurricanes. 3 more games left. It's a 2 out of 3. And I always catch myself saying, don't say enjoy it, because everybody's nervous and it's hard to enjoy it. We're in the middle of it. But as much as you can, having done it before at Justin Williams, enjoy the last 2, maybe 3 games.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Justin Williams, 3-time Stanley Cup champion. You know, he brings up an interesting point, and that is, it's neither good nor bad styles of hockey. We're just so used to seeing the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Final that it does seem sort of shocking at how little violence there is in the Stanley Cup Final this year. Right? Like, we're used to the Panthers with, like, you get a chance to get in a lick, like, you take it and extra, and you put salt, vinegar, and ketchup on it, and you go for it. But this series has been devoid of that. Now, the skill has been there, the intensity's been there, all of it has still been there, but the minute the whistle goes, like, that's it. It's like both teams, like, their tough guy is their power play.
It's been a lack of extracurricular nastiness, but it's been a heavy series from a checking perspective. Like,
but it's not dirty.
I mean, it's not dirty. Just both these teams like to check you into oblivion on, as far as like your D and stuff like that. That's kind of like what they both want to do. And again, one of the things that we haven't talked about is the war of attrition. Like, Jack Eichel's been not very good this series. There is talk he's injured. Noah Hannafin, not very good this series, also didn't skate the other day. Talk of him being injured.
Was it game 1 with the shoulder when he left?
Shoulder, yeah. There's a few guys on both sides who you're just kind of like looking at him and being like, are they okay?
The McNabb guy had something happen to him as well.
You had a little bit. By the way, speaking of, so Shea Theodore is great. And Shea Theodore is a guy who drives offense. I looked at the numbers on Natural Stat Trick last night. Do you realize when Slavin was on the ice with Shea Theodore, Carolina had a 17-1 shot attempt advantage? Like, how does that even happen? How does that happen with Shea Theodore on the ice? Like, that was insane. I had to, like, double check my numbers to make sure I wasn't looking at the wrong thing. They had a 17-1 shot attempt advantage when Slavin was on the ice with Theodore last night. I was mind blown when I saw that stat. But one of the things that I find really interesting about this series, like one of the sort of like games within a game, Theodore is so good at the stretch pass. He's so good at it. And a lot of those guys on Vegas are so good at it. And one of the reasons why that second period has tilted so far in their favor, 9-1, they're outscoring Carolina in the second period, is their ability to get those stretch passes and give those and create odd man rushes, on the Carolina goaltending. Taylor Hall said something very interesting the other day to me. He said, we're aware of it, and we almost have to kind of treat it like we're in the NFL. Like, we almost need to kind of like put in a nickel package in like the second period to try to defend against those long passes. And if you watch last night's game, there was only one that got through, and that was the one to Stone, and somehow it got through 3 Hurricanes that were back trying to defend against it. So it just ended up being a really good play. But I think Carolina has kind of decided we need to get a little bit more help back there on those passes, because that's how Vegas loves to score the majority of their goals.
So going back to my original point, the Carolina Hurricanes have figured out the Vegas Golden Knights. Is that what you're?
They're playing better. They're playing better hockey. Before we forget the Larkin conversation.
Yeah.
The thing I find, first of all, I there's a very good chance that he's the next Marner, where he just like goes from a team that's sort of middling and then goes to a team that's really good and then just becomes like the reason they win a cup.
So
like,
he becomes a
talented.
second line elite level player, and he doesn't doesn't have like the toughs like the top guys do, but he just explodes. Absolutely.
The two things I'm curious about are like, what do they want for him? Like how much immediate help do they want for him? How much futures do they want for him? Because in the case of Utah, let's say Utah is part of this mix. Yep. And we know that they've been chasing a center. Like, they could go either way. Like, they could give them, I don't know, Dursey and Nick Schmaltz, let's say, and a future for Larkin. Or they could go straight up, give them part of the treasure trove of prospects that they've got. I'm interested to see ultimately where Yzerman wants to go on a Larkin trade.
Yeah, I wonder if this is the moment where Detroit does take a small step back. And if it is a team like Utah, it's like your Simashevs and your Desnoyers and your TG Ginlas that you go fishing for. And maybe there's Hayton that comes along with it for right now. But this is an opportunity for them to take a small step back for a huge lurch forward. And they sort of recalibrate whose timeline they're going to do this on, which probably means inevitably maybe this is going to lead to like an Alex DeBrincat deal too. Who knows?
Yeah.
But like, I just wonder if they alter the timeline for the Red Wings because of this new reality.
Well, and then the other thing too, if you're Utah, let's say that they're in the mix here, like you've got to be sure that Larkin's the guy you want to spend that on. I mean, there's a chance you might be spending it on Austin Matthews in the near future. Like you got to make sure that
interesting
you
one.
are keeping your powder dry for the right guy.
I wonder. I still do wonder about Dallas with Dylan Larkin. Like it became really obvious how slow Dallas was when Rupe Hintz was out of the lineup. Dylan Larkin and Rupe Hintz 1-2 as a center punch. That's real nice, and you're insulated if Rupe Hintz is out. Like. Dallas is still going to go for it.
Doesn't part of this just see? Look, so there's one thing I'm intrigued by here, which is that this is one of the guys that's on a bad team that got a taste of what it's like to be on a championship team in Italy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's part of this that's driven Larkin to be like, I am so tired of not being in the playoffs. Like it's not why I'm here.
I agree.
And so I'm looking to now just like move on. And I want to maybe play with my friend Jack Eichel or maybe play with my friend Quinn Hughes and their teams make the playoffs all the time. I think there's a separation in the whole player empowerment movement between Larkin and some of the other guys that have come up recently. Like I saw The Athletic wrote a story about like Quinn Hughes and Mitch Marner, and they threw Panarin in there, and you know, going back to Tkachuk and the Flames. Like all of those situations had free agency as a pressure point.
Yeah,
and the idea that those guys didn't want to re-sign long term, and that's why they did the things that they did. Larkin's a different animal, and so I wonder, like, is this unique to Detroit and Larkin, or is this now an interesting phase where guys that have term are going to be like, and I'll just throw a name out there, and I hate to say it because I know that he's a beloved player and he just won the Norris Trophy, but like, at what point does Zach Werenski be like, I just won a gold medal. I'm tired of being on the bubble my entire life in Columbus. Mm-hmm. Let's go to San Jose. like at what point does that start happening for other guys if they're looking at Larkin being like, you can do that?
So there is a pressure point. There is a pressure point here, and that is Detroit just saw Buffalo leap over them, just saw Montreal leap over them, and Ottawa leap over them, and the Florida Panthers are coming back into the mix right now. So there is a pressure point because Yzerman has to get better. And if this guy wants out, let's not lose sight that this is the captain. So it's not as if Yzerman can say, you know what, you've only given us a couple of different teams here. I don't like the packages we're getting. You're going to come back and play. He's got to move. He's got to move this along.
He's got to move him.
He's got to. Like, there is a. Normally, we're just used to free agent pressure points. This is not a free agent pressure point. This is Detroit needs to do something here, because there is, despite common wisdom about, whenever I check in on Detroit, it's always, Chris is not Mike. Chris is not Mike. Chris Ilitch feels about Steve Yzerman in a very specific way, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's only so long you can go without playoffs on this Yzer plan until fans are finally like, enough of this. Until paying customers start saying, enough of this. Like, there's only so long you can surf on, it's Steve, so he'll always be fine because Mrs. Ilitch and Chris Ilitch love him. There is a pressure point here. There is a pressure point.
Do you think Yzerman shared with Larkin that he'll have a chance to play with Quinn and Jack Hughes in 2030? Or do you think he kept that under wraps?
You're sending me to New Jersey? What? Probably not. Probably. Do you still think that's the ultimate play?
Yeah, I do.
You do, eh?
I do. I mean, like, geography, affinity for maybe the original six of it all. Both those guys hitting at the same time. Detroit probably being in the position to spend as much money as possible on both of them.
Yeah.
Hey, look, man, as a Devils fan, I'd love if Quinn was just like, I ain't signing in Minnesota. Send me to play with my brothers. That'd be great. But the more I think about it, like, the more I think again, we had Brisson on the show. I asked him about it.
I know.
You saw his answer.
Oh,
his answer was
they
like,
talk about a lot of things.
boys.
That That is a veteran agent who's keeping all options on the table always, and not shutting anything down.
I don't know nothing for sure. Like I still think about Jack's speech when he came back from the Olympics and standing on the ice and doing something that, as a Devils fan, I never heard any of my guys ever do, which is like just pour love over Devil fandom and the franchise in a way that just like you never hear a star player ever do. So like part of me is like, maybe he'll just stay. I don't know. Maybe. And there's part of me that's just like, or maybe him and his brother will be like the most feted free agent duo since Solani and Korea, and they'll just go where they want to go. I don't know.
Dylan Larkin for Quinn Hughes. Who says no?
Minnesota.
And that's the way Steve Yzerman gets his Quinn Hughes. Final thought on anything as you leave T-Mobile Arena?
Yeah, one thing, which is that I got to experience being here at the Fortress with somebody who had never been here before. My editor, Tim Cavanaugh.
Oh, no way. Nice.
I love so much. He came to Game 4. He's going to be at Game 5 in Raleigh. And he had never seen a game here yet. And for those in the audience that have never seen a game here yet, and you've heard the hype of how it's different, listen, man, I'm seeing my editor sit there with his eyes agape as he watches a woman representing the evils of Mother Nature and the hurricanes being hoisted to the ceiling on wires as she's fighting a knight and two drummers who are also on wires before the game.
Right.
I've been coming to these games since they got here. I came to the first game in Vegas with our old friend Dave Lozo, in fact.
No way! Dave Lozo.
Yeah,
I loved him.
We came here for their first night. Obviously, that game was much different because they were dealing with the aftermath of the shooting on the Strip.
Was that against Dallas?
But like,
was it Dallas?
Was it against Dallas? No, it was against Arizona.
Oh, the first game was against Dallas in Dallas. That's
the first game. Yeah, the first game ever was against Dallas. First game at home was against Arizona. And like I've been coming here forever, and it really hasn't lost its luster. It's the only place in the league you're going to see a guy in a sparkly Mitch Marner jersey next to a guy dressed as Elvis Presley banging on the glass. Like it really is a remarkable place to watch a game. And I saw Bettman was on The Point, our pregame show on ESPN, kind of talking about like the people that doubted that Vegas would work and where are they now. And
I'm right here.
The league deserves credit.
I didn't think it would work. Think it would work.
Bill Foley deserves credit. And I think the one thing that maybe a lot of people were wrong on is they didn't need the tourists. Like there was enough people here that they made into hockey fans where you come to a game and it is all night shit, man. Like up and down, left and right. There are some games where people travel, but most of the time it is just like the locals have filled this place every night, and it's incredible to see.
So there was a place in Quebec, I think it still exists, in Quebec City when the Nordiques were rocking, a place called Dagobah. Okay? So it was a notorious...
Like Dagobah? Like the place where Yoda lived in the Empire Strikes Back?
Dagobar, Dagobah, a legendary place, and NHLers would go there, okay, the night before they would play the Nordiques. And this was like debauchery central in Quebec City. Okay, and they always considered it. They considered it's called Chez Dagobah, and they considered it their sixth player or seventh if you include the goal, because guys would go there and they'd be weak-kneed to play the next day. I always thought from day one that Vegas would appeal to the schedule maker and book Sunday afternoon games. For guys that fly in Saturday, go out, enjoy Vegas on a Saturday night, and then have to play the next day, not at night, but in the afternoon. Let the city be your sixth player. Book two
Vegas flu is real.
Sunday afternoons.
The Vegas flu is real. It's the reason why teams stay at the Waldorf and at the Vidara, because they don't have a casino in the place. I did see one of the Carolina Hurricanes walking around the Cosmo the other day, but it was like in the afternoon. I glanced at him, he glanced at me. We didn't really talk, but like, you just wonder, like, part of the challenge of this series is the timing of it all. Like we talked about at the start of the show, Carolina getting in a very quick turnaround to Game 3. I think it did take them a couple of days to get their equilibrium, but also just fighting the temptation. You're in Vegas. The food here is incredible. The fun here is incredible. But the other problem of it is that Vegas has you at some point, and 11 o'clock at night turns into 1 a.m., turns into 3 a.m. because there's no clocks and there's no windows.
Clocks and there's oxygen pumped in.
Yeah, it is.
Why do I feel so awake?
It happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us. And then you're on East Coast time, so now you're waking up at 6 a.m.
Yep.
And your body feels like it needs to wake up, but then you look at the clock and you're like, the blackout curtains did nothing. I should be asleep right now. It's a really special place to play and a really special place to cover games and all that jive. And, the Knights are an inherently evil franchise. We all know that, but their fans can't be blamed for that. They're great hockey fans.
They're great hockey fans and a lot of good people in that organization. I'm just glad that Gary Lawless is now the mayor of Vegas, I believe. Last time I checked, I'm not sure, but every time that I talk to Gary Lawless, he knows everything about everything and where to go specifically in Vegas. I love Gary Lawless.
And his voice is in the cabs.
Love him.
I took a cab one day.
His voice in the cabs?
Yeah, like one day.
Oh
they
my
have
God, I love that.
The TV, they have the TV that plays in the back of the cab, and all of a sudden I just hear Gary Lawless's voice. I'm just like, what the hell's happening here?
Oh my God, I love that. Ugh, you've come a long way from Peterborough, young man. You've come a long way from Peterborough. Okay, you be good to Raleigh safe. And hopefully you don't see your dog for a while, as horrible as that sounds. But I do want to see 7 games here on this one. And you're back tomorrow.
Well, we're back tomorrow, right in the thick of it tomorrow, probably after morning skates and such. And we will preview an extremely quick turnaround game 5 in this series. More goals to come, probably.
All right, we'll see. All right, you be good. To Raleigh safe.
Take care.
There is Greg Wyshynski from ESPN and ESPN.com. So thanks to Greg for stopping by. We got a lot to get to here on the program, including this, the segment or presentation of the Ninja Crispy Pro Countertop Glass Air Fryer.
Get faster, crispier results at home or on the go with legendary Ninja air frying power. Prep, cook, serve, and store in non-toxic clean crisp glassware. Get more out of your air fryer with the Ninja Crispy Collection.
Shark Ninja is elevating the air fryer experience. It's true. The Ninja Crispy Pro is a family-sized cooking system that comes with a 6-quart and 2.5-quart glassware, storage lids, crisper plates, and a modular base for any occasion. The clean, crisp glassware is designed for non-toxic cooking and storing. Go from frozen to crispy with the thermal shock-resistant clean, crisp glassware. The Ninja Crispy Pro is powerful. It's a 1,800-watt air fryer that can cook a 7.5-pound chicken that feeds up to 10 people. It's customizable with 6-in-1 functions: max crisp, air fry, bake, roast, recrisp, and dehydrate. For more information on the Ninja Crispy Pro, visit the link in our description or go to sharkninja.ca. Question for you, Zach, and this was the QOD. Okay. As I find this sucker. Do you believe, as I do, that the NHL should have the Stanley Cup visible in the arena at every Stanley Cup final game? Now, I know I'm ripping this off from WWE with the big WrestleMania banner, and after matches, wrestlers will point at the banner, drawing the heat to WrestleMania, the big blow off of all the storylines of the year. But I like the idea of players scoring goals and pointing at the Stanley Cup, but even more so, I like, come on, dude, Jordan Staal scores that goal. He's lying on his stomach and he points up to the cup. The camera goes to the cup and back to Jordan Staal. It's a great visual. It's great for cutaways. It's awesome. Transitions to commercials, all these things. I like the idea. Okay, man, I say a lot of stupid shit, and here goes another one. I like the idea of seeing the Stanley Cup watching the game. It's like the cup is there, sat somewhere in the stands, and I don't know if you have, Phil Pritchard sitting there for all the games, but some representative from the Hall of Fame sitting with the Stanley Cup as the Stanley Cup presides over all, at least 4, maybe 7 games of the Stanley Cup Final. It gets a little sort of premium placement in the arena somewhere where you see the cup watching the game. What do you think?
I'm with you. I like it. I would I have this vision in my head of it being like the Skoda or whatever those cars are when they play in any of the national tournaments over in Switzerland, Sweden, and the Nordic countries, the Scandinavian countries. You know, when they put them in the corner on display, that's what I'm picturing this as.
You got like the plexiglass around.
The Islanders used to have that as well, I believe, too, right in the corner.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
I'm all for that. I love it. At bare minimum, though, Jeff, I think, and here I go creating a stink over something that really doesn't matter, but I think they got to bring back the on-ice Stanley Cup playoffs or Stanley Cup finals prints. I don't know how else to put it. Prints, painting
on the
that
ice.
they used to have on the ice.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah,
I like that too.
The NBA brought it back
it
this
looks
year.
great.
It's been about 12 years since they've had it on center court, where they have the Larry O'Brien trophy underneath the home team's logo, and it looks amazing. Like it does feel different when you turn on the TV and you watch the NBA final and you see the Larry O'Brien at center court. It's missing in the Stanley Cup playoff. Like it's really inconsequential because the hockey has been unbelievable. Like I'm thoroughly enjoying myself every night, but throw in a Stanley Cup final graphic on the ice with the Stanley Cup there where it's visible every time I'm at least watching in the course of play. I think that's step one. And then the grand finale is, as you said, Jordan Staal laying on the ice, pounding the ice. It's 4-3 Carolina. Cut away to the Stanley Cup in the corner, glistening with the Vegas lights. I'm in. I'm sold.
I thought you would push back on this. I thought you did because
like
a lot of threw this out of the QID, and a lot of people sort of push back on this. Listen, I understand it. Like it's hockey, and if you move an inch to the left or an inch to the right, everybody goes
crazy. It's what you're playing for.
That's what you're playing for, and
it's what you're playing for.
You keep this thing hidden in a box, and we see Phil Pritchard with the white gloves, and here it comes. Is it going to get out of the case? No. Oh no, they've scored. It goes back to the hotel. No, like.
It's what
bring
you're
it out
playing
there.
For.
It's what you're playing for. Make it visible non-stop.
I will push back on like the players are going to point, not because I think that shouldn't happen.
Someone will.
But
someone will.
No, who is going to do that? It's not Jordan Staal. Like so these guys, there's a generation of hockey player that will never, ever, ever do it. There's probably some that are just too scared to do it, but will think about it. It would have to be like Trevor Zegras. Trevor Zegras is the one who points at the Stanley Cup.
Jack Hughes.
I'm trying to think about anybody else.
Jack Hughes.
Yeah, but he's the guy that I could see being scared to do it. It would have to be in the rush of the moment, and then he would do it. Zegras, I think there's no doubt in his mind. I don't know. I'm trying to think about who else fits into that. McDavid is never doing it. He's going coast to coast, scores the game-tying goal.
Nathan McKinnon is never doing it.
Never doing it. Right. General Soreness in the chat says Marchand would for sure. I could see Marchand doing it.
I could see. Oh, that's a great one. Yeah, I could see Brad Marchand doing that. Yeah, I could see that.
Game 5, they're up, 3-1 in the series. It's tied 4-4 late in the third. Marchand breakaway, sprung out of the box, scores, skates by the corner, points at the cup. I could see that. Yeah.
You know how guys like when you're winning a game and someone tries to get tough, you point to the scoreboard. How about that? Instead of that, you point to the Stanley Cup and you're Brad Marchand, you just like with the rings. I don't know. Point to the Stanley Cup.
That's the one that you get worried about. That it comes back to bite you though. You score the go-ahead goal, and then all of a sudden the other guy's hoisting the Stanley Cup because you've blown the lead. But you know what? I like the theatrics of it, and I am with you as far as put it on display. It's what you're playing for.
Yes.
Hey, hang it from the jumbotron center ice.
We got
above their head.
We got a lot of like San Jose Sharks responses, or like make it like the Phantom of the Stanley Cup. Well, San Jose Sharks like down rappelling down. Make it like the Phantom of the Stanley Cup, like way up in the corner, shrouded by black curtains. I don't know, whatever you want to do, play with it. Do like where's Waldo? I don't know. Where's Stanley? And hide it in different places in the rink every game. You got to try to find with the Stanley Cup. Nah, give it one specific place where you put the Stanley Cup. But look, it's the most beautiful trophy in all of sports. Sorry, every other sport. The NHL's got it right. The most beautiful trophy, and they keep it locked up in a box to come out briefly.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on this one. I like this idea.
You know what's fun? You know what's funny? Go back and look at old Stanley Cup victories. They should just come out and put it on a table. And then guys like push it around on the table.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, man. And if you really want...
I remember an image of the table, but I don't remember these guys pushing it around.
Yeah. And if you really want to see something fun, turn the audio up. Watch 1967, a very intoxicated president of the NHL, Clarence Campbell, try to stammer out a few words as he hands the Stanley Cup over to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Been drinking vodka and orange juice all day long. Oh, I got to hand out the cup. What's this microphone all about? And God, was he ever buckled?
That's one you've brought up a few times here on the program.
That's because you're a Maple Leafs fan.
Yeah.
Even the NHL president was hammered when he handed it out. Gotta give this thing to George. Okay, here you go, George.
What a league. What a league.
It's always been that way, man. It's NHL, bud. All right, it's the NHL season. We remind you again, and FanDuel is your home for all the action on the ice. From Blue Line to BetSlip, we've got you covered all season with unique promos, live offerings, and more features to let you play your game. Miss puck drop, no sweat with a live same-game parlay. You can build your bets up until the final buzzer. Download FanDuel Sportsbook today and play your game. Please play responsibly, 18 plus and physically located in Ontario. If you have questions or concerns about your gambling or the gambling of someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. What are you doing on an off day today, Mr. Kelowna Rockets hat?
Well, this is not a conversation I thought we would be having in, I guess, really 3 consecutive seasons here now.
Okay.
But it kind of seems like it's a valid one at this point, and FanDuel has put up a market for it. So if you go over to FanDuel right now, they have a Mitch Marner tab available. And one of the options underneath the Mitch Marner tab, Jeff, Mitch Marner to win the Conn Smythe and the Carolina Hurricanes to win the Stanley Cup.
Could happen. We just saw with Connor McDavid.
I know.
Normally it's goaltenders, but it has happened with players before. Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. This is not good for a podcast, but I don't even have words for what was going through my head when I saw it. Is just because I was trying to think through the options and it kind of realizing Freddie gets taken out of the equation. He's off the table for Conn Smythe. It's unfortunately the way it is. Keandre Miller, that was a guy that we talked about. He's not having the best final. No. Taylor Hall's not really kept up what he had.
Let me pause on that. Taylor Hall needs a Jordan Staal moment. Like what Jordan Staal did last night, Hall needs it in this series to get him. Because going into this series, the Stanley Cup Final, if Carolina won, I don't know about you, but I was on the Taylor Hall train for Conn Smythe Trophy if Carolina wins. He needs a Jordan Staal game.
Yep. No, I agree. I think him or Stankoven, if they, hypothetical, think about the situations that get you there. Let's say Game 5, they win, they lose Game 6, and they go to Game 7. If Taylor Hall or Logan Stankoven has, 2 goals in Game 5 and scores the winner in Game 7, I think it's one of them. If they win Game 5 and Game 6 and they have huge games, I think it's them. But again, we're sitting here talking about they need to have that game that they have not yet had to get it.
Mitch Marner.
The only guy I put up there, and you guys talked about it with Justin Williams, or he brought it up, I guess, essentially, is Jordan Staal. And I wonder about recency bias. I wonder about narrative. And I wonder about just kind of the idea of, the final piece of the puzzle for Jordan Staal. Captain of the Carolina Hurricanes, wins the Stanley Cup. He's the catalyst in a couple of these games where they've been trailing or to get them over the hump, like last night, scores the go-ahead goal. And now you get the Conn Smythe because you've been unbelievable, and here's the story.
So can I add another one for our friends at FanDuel?
Yeah.
Carolina Hurricanes win the Stanley Cup. Mitch Marner wins the Conn Smythe Trophy, but doesn't come out to accept it. A la Connor McDavid.
I will say that.
Yeah.
I think based on. Actually, I'll just continue.
He'll go and get it.
Yeah, I think he goes and gets it. And I think he looks at the old Maple Leaf Gardens on it, and he gives it a stare and a rub on top like a genie bottle, and gives it a kiss and says, "Thank you, Toronto."
Well, I think one of the questions when McDavid wouldn't accept it, I mean, it was on the road. If it were in Edmonton, would he have gone out to get it?
I still think no.
I still think no, too, but there are your fans there.
I think one of the questions should have been, did they let Connor take it with his own two hands, or did they just let him look at it in fear of him throwing it across the room through the wall?
Maybe. You may have a good point there. Okay, as we wrap things up here, the finals are on, as we all know. The Nation Network all over it. Every game, every storyline. Man, there's been a few. Every big moment, from pregame breakdowns to postgame reactions to exclusive interviews, expert analysis, and the conversations driving the hockey world. The Nation Network and Daily Faceoff delivering wall-to-wall coverage throughout the finals. This is hockey's biggest stage, and we're bringing you closer to the action every day. Like, follow, and subscribe to Daily Faceoff YouTube, that's right here, and socials as well to stay connected to the final from the first puck drop to the last. As we give you the last word on this one, anything from the show today, either with me and Wish or Justin Williams, that jumps out at you from today's show?
No. Well, yes, there's a lot. This is a great show today, but there was something I've been dying to say to you before we end the show today.
What?
You know how this series is destined to end, right? You know.
What am I missing? How?
Either a coach's challenge or an NHL-initiated goal review. This series will end 100%. On some type of review.
There will be a referee who awards the Stanley. Wes McCauley is handing out the Stanley Cup. Living out a childhood dream, perhaps. Yes, there will be an official.
Is in the mirror.
Yes.
Every night. After review,
the call on the
Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup.
You know he's not just going to make the call. He's going to do the award. Jordan Staal, come get your cup. Just like jump all over Gary's announcement.
Getting Gary's way. It's going to happen. This series, I said to you yesterday. I said it to you yesterday at the end of the show. You said, what are you looking forward to? And I said everything. I said, who's going to take a lead? Who's going to blow it? It happened. Who's going to score and it's going to get called off? It happened. Like, who's going to get run? It was Carter Hart. He got run by Jackson Blake. Like, everything is happening. That's how this series ends. Somebody's crashing the net. A defenseman bumps him. Is it goalie interference? Is it not? We'll never know. And that's how it's going to end.
There is a referee that's going to hand out the Stanley Cup. You're wrong. You're not wrong. And
then you know what they're going to say? We have a good goal, and you're going to jump through the TV.
We have a Stanley Cup goal. I'll put up with that.
Yeah, okay.
If you're Wes.
Yeah, that's the one.
I'll put up with we have a Stanley Cup goal. And that will be a highlight played for all time. And I think the only official that would freestyle that is Wes McCauley.
Yeah. If they say we have a good goal and that ends it and is the Stanley Cup winning goal, you are going to be in your deathbed yelling at the clouds about that moment, remembering that forever. Your boys are going to be like, Dad, it's okay. Just let this one go.
I'm gonna have a headache so strong that my kids will have migraines. My grandkids will have migraines. If I hear that.
We have a good goal.
No! Daggers.
That's how this is ending.
Or team pours out and celebrates. Hold on, review.
Scraping confetti off the ice.
Yes. Yes. Coaches have already had a
put
couple
the
of
red
quick...
carpet away.
Yeah.
Phil, put it back in the case.
Assistant coaches have already had a couple of quick tins on the bench. All right, here we go.
Everyone's hugging and crying. Families are pouring down. Get back.
Get back. Yeah, it could happen.
Yep.
We'll see. Well, why not? Like, if it's going to happen any year, it's going to be this one because it's been awesome and bizarre.
That's what I'm saying.
Along the way, it's been great. All right, listen. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you've subscribed, thank you. If you haven't, please consider doing so. We appreciate the attention in this economy of attention that we live in right now online. We're back tomorrow. Greg returns from ESPN and ESPN.com. So more Wyshynski, this time from Raleigh. In the meantime, enjoy a night off Stanley Cup action. We resume tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern, for the sheet. We'll talk to you then. Thanks to Justin Williams for stopping by the show today. Talk to you tomorrow. Jeff Marek along with you. I hope you enjoyed the program today. If you did, or maybe even if you didn't, they can't all be gems, folks. Please hit the subscribe button. Also a reminder, every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, Johnny Lazarus, Colby Cohen, I call them the Impact Players. You might know them as a tandem that makes up the Morning Cup of Hockey. Also DFO Live at noon Eastern. This year, your host Tyler Yaremchuk alongside Carter Hutton. Full day's worth of programming right here on Daily Faceoff, your favorite YouTube hockey channel. And as a reminder as well, Zach Phillips, our producer here for the sheet, said if you subscribe, he'll buy you a puppy. It's true.